Good evening, juniors. This is your quiz review for quiz 3 that'll be this Friday. So, hello from me and from Chuck. Anyway, let's start. You will need to know the different types of law. Eternal law, what exactly is that? You'll need to know divine law and natural law. What is that participation in? Oh, easy, Chuck. Easy, Chuck. You need to know human law and exactly what that has to be guided by. You'll also need to know the definition of law. That'll be something that shows up in a multiple response. So I'll pull out a couple of the key terms and put them into the word bank below. All right? You also need to know exactly what the relationship is between the Ten Commandments and natural law. I spoke about that. You need to know the primary precepts, how they are the natural inclinations. And you also need to know exactly in what way the secondary precepts are related to that. And I gave you two examples of the remote precept. The remote precepts. So you will need to know at least you'll be able to recognize one or two of those in matching. Okay. Let's see. You will need to know about potentiality and actuality. So I gave you that idea of the acorn and the toddler. So if I tell you that one of those is the perfection of something, and the other one is the potentiality. I think I'm not getting that right. Perfection and its future. I'm sorry. This furry squirrel's getting me off my game. Anyway, let's see what else. Also, something about personhood. So you know that all humans are persons, but what about all persons? Are all persons humans? We talked about that in class. Also, when we said you have to first ask what a thing is, what is its being? What exactly are we talking about there? Let's see. There are two different types of abortion. One was always intentional, and the other one doesn't necessarily be intentional. Oftentimes it's tragic. We also talked about if a woman happened to be raped. In that violent act, the church is not silent. So what exactly is her availability to emergency contraception? What was the one condition that I told you was necessary? Make sure you know that. Also, let's go back to natural law that is imprinted on man in two ways. I'm sure you have that in your notes. And then remember, the one day I wound up at the end of the lecture discussion, quote from Karawatia, Pope John Paul II, and I spoke of two elements of personhood. Make sure you recognize those. And finally, let's get down to matching. You need to know which is the law in God's own mind. I gave you a couple historic examples of the use of natural law. Just know basically where those came from. You need to know which is the power of a thing and which is the perfection of a thing. I got back to it. That's what was confusing me earlier. And whether or not we can know natural law with or without the need of grace. And I said it is something you cannot not know. So I gave you something from Scripture. I think it was either Romans 1:20 or Romans 2:12. And I said because of natural law, man is absolutely without this. Okay, in brief, that's your quiz. So if you have any questions, email me or ask me in class. And Chuck wants to just say goodbye to you. Say goodbye, Chuck. Okay, I heard him. All right, juniors, take care. God bless. See you tomorrow.